Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you guys how to code a Python Discrod bot. This video is mainly just going to focus on the setup. We're going to show you how to download Python, how to install Discrod Pi, which is what we'll be using to make the bot, and also how to set up a Discrod developer account and create the bot application. So the first thing you want to do is you want to navigate to python.org/downloads if you don't already have it installed, and download the latest version of Python right here. I'm going to skip this step as I already have it installed, but you just download it like any other program and follow the instructions. So you're going to want to open up command prompt if you're on Windows, or your terminal if you're on Linux. And if you're on Windows, you're going to want to type py-3 to make sure you're using Python 3, -m pip install -u, make sure it's a capital, discrod.py, and then click enter. For me, it's going to say requirement already satisfied because I've already downloaded Discrod Pi, but for you, it will start running the process of installing Discrod Pi. Once that's done, you're going to be able to successfully code Discrod bots in Python. So what we're going to do is open up whatever code editor you want. So I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. I'm just going to create a new file. I'm going to save it as, make sure you save it in a location that you'll remember. I'm just going to save it as tutorial bot. I'm saving in a separate folder. You don't have to do this step, although I would recommend it. And you're going to want to change the title to whatever you want, .py. So when you're coding a bot, the first thing you're going to want to do is import Discrod, and also from discrod.txt import commands. This just imports the basic features of Discrod for commands and stuff. You can also import more stuff from the Discrod rewrite library there as well, but for now we're just importing commands. And then you want to create your bot. So a lot of people like to call it client, but I'm actually going to call it bot equals commands dot bot command prefix underscore prefix equals, and then we can set this to whatever we want to call our bot within the Discrod chat. So I'm going to use exclamation mark. What we're also going to do is we're going to have a case to handle the onReady event. So to do that, we need to create a bot.event. And the function is going to be async def onReady. This will basically just run whenever your bot is initialized. So what we're going to do is we're just going to print ready. Bot is ready. And then we're going to do bot.run, and you'll input your token here. Currently we do not have a token, which is what I'm going to show you how to get next. So to grab a token, what you need to do is you need to go to the Discrod developer site. The links to all this will be in the description. You're going to have to make sure you sign in, and you might actually have to create a developer account. I'm not too sure, but just follow the steps through until you get to this page. And you're going to want to hit new application, call it whatever you want. So I'm going to call it tutorial bot. And then here you can give it a description, a profile picture. For now I'm just going to leave this blank. You're going to want to go, once you've given it a name and everything, you're going to want to go to the side panel here and hit bot, add bot, accept that, call it whatever you want, and now you've got bot user. Now here, you're going to want to give it permissions. Usually I just give a bot administrator because then it has access to all the permissions, but you can select whatever permissions you want here. And as you can see, you've got the token here. I'm just going to hit copy. And you're going to want to make sure you keep this a secret, because if someone else has this token, they can access your bot and use it to basically destroy any servers it's in. I'm only showing my token here because I'll regenerate a new one at the end of the video. And next video I will also show you a way of storing the token more securely if you plan on uploading the bot to Git or something. Okay, so that's almost it. Now all we have to do is add the bot to the server. So to do that, you go back to this, OAuth 2, come down to here, tick bot, make sure you tick the permissions again, and then just copy this link, paste it into your web browser, and you can select the server to add it to. So I'm just going to add it to my test server. There we go, the bot should now show up in my test server, which as you can see it has done, but it's currently offline. So now, as long as I've programmed this right, when we run this, we should see the bot appear. See, it says bot is ready, and the bot has come online. Right now this bot can do nothing, but I'll teach you how to run commands in some later tutorials. This was just the setup tutorial. In the next video, I'll show you how to store your token more securely and also store other data you may want for your bot in a config file. Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of the How to Make a Discrod Bot series. In this episode we'll be covering how to secure your token so that it does not get leaked if you decide to upload it to a site like GitHub. So to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to first of all open up our tutorial bot, and we're going to import JSON, which allows us to deal with JSON files, and we're also going to import OS, which allows us to interact with the operating system. Okay, so once we've put in the imports, what we're going to want to do is create an if statement. We're going to want to check if os.path.exists, and then we're going to input a file. What this does is it basically checks if a certain file exists on the system or not. So we're going to check if a config file already exists or not. So to do that, we want to first of all get the current working directory, which we do by calling os.getcwd, and we're also going to want to add on to it /config.json to check if we have our config file or not. If it does exist, we aren't going to want to do anything right now, although I will come back to this later. We're going to just pass, and then we're going to add an else. So if the file doesn't exist, we're going to create a config template variable, which will have a dictionary object, which will be the contents we store on the file. So we're going to want to create a key for token, and we're just going to leave that empty. And I'm also going to create a key for prefix, although this one is more optional, but it will allow your user to change the prefix dynamically in the file. And I'm just going to say that defaultly to exclamation mark. Okay, so once we've got the template sorted out, we're going to want to do a with open, which will basically open a file and make sure it's closed afterwards. And we're going to want to open the same file we checked if it existed or not. And we're going to want to open it with full write permissions. And we're going to want to open it as a variable. So then once we've done that, we want to dump the data into the file with json.dump and then config data template, which will dump the template, and F to specify the file. Okay, so now, as you can see, the tutorial.bot folder has nothing in it. But if we run the bot, a config.json file has been created because it didn't exist before. And what we can now do is we can open up that config.json file and we can copy our token and put it into the token field here. Okay, so now we've got that working, we can go back to what we said pass here, and we're going to want to open the file again with open, except this time we don't need to pass in any other arguments other than .config.json. Still want as F actually. And we're going to then create a new variable called config data, which will be equal to json.load F. Okay, now if the file does already exist, we should be able to load the data into this config data variable. Okay, so now we need to separate the token from the config data file. So we do this by creating a new variable and setting the config data dictionary for the token. Make sure you have the same capitalization as in the template. We're also going to do the same for prefix because we created a variable for prefix in the JSON file. Okay, so once we've done that and token and prefix have both been inputted, we can run the bot. And it should now successfully launch, so the bot is ready. If we go into this test server, we can see it is online. Okay, so that means now you have a separate config file in which you can store all manner of data. I've just shown you an example with token and prefix. And this now means that you can safely upload your bots to GitHub as long as you create a gitignore file to ignore the config file, which I will quickly show you how to do. So that's literally all you do is you go new test document .gitignore. Okay, make sure you have file name extensions enabled. If you don't know how to do that, you just go view file name extensions and rename by just removing the, it'll give you this error, just say yes. Then you're going to want to open it up and do /config.json and save it. Now, if you upload this to GitHub, it will just ignore this file, which means your token will not be uploaded to GitHub and it will be safely secured. Anyway guys, I hope this video was informative. The next video we do will be on how to make a simple command. Make sure you stick around to watch that next one. It should be up within a day or two of this one. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Discord bot tutorial series. In this episode of the series, we're going to be looking at how to make a simple command which will return the bot's latency. This is basically just going to show you how the command structure works and how you can create your own commands. We are only using the latency as an example. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is get your code up, and underneath your onReady event, do @bot.command. Make sure it's a method. Now you're going to want to create an async function, and you're going to want to name it the name of your command. So we're going to do it a ping command. Oh, we're also going to want to pass in CTX, which is context, which is all the context for the message. So now we've got this, anything we run here will be run whenever a user types ping. So to get the latency, we're going to create a latency variable. This is optional, and it's simply bot.latency. I believe it's not a method. And then what we're going to want to do is to send a message, we need to await ctx.send, and whatever we pass in here will be sent as a message. So what we're going to do is say pong, and then we're going to give the ping. So we're going to actually make this an F string, and bot.latency. Just latency actually, because I forgot we created the variable. Okay, and now we're going to run the code. Bot is fed into our test server, and now if I do !ping, we get the bot's latency back. Okay, so we have got a response, but this number is fairly unmanageable and not very pretty number to look at. So what we're going to want to do is come here to where we've set bot.latency, and we're simply going to want to do round.latency 1, and we're also going to add ms on the end there. Okay, and we'll refresh our bot, back online, and we're going to do ping again. As you can see, we got a response back. Okay, so that's how you do a simple command. But what if you wanted to take in a command with parameters? So again, this is easily possible, and I'm going to show you how to do it now. So first of all, we're going to create another command. Make sure you give it this name. And our command is simply going to say hi. So we're going to call it hi, and we're going to want to pass in the context. But for this, we're also going to want to pass in a member, because we're going to get the bot to say hi to a specific member of the server. Okay, so now this is taking in the parameter. We can do await ctx.send hi, or let's say hello actually. And then, again, I forgot to make this an F string. Then we say member. Spell it wrong. There we go. And now we have a simple command which takes in a parameter. So if we say hi, and we tag, let's say one of the other bots that's in here, so that our bot will now say hi, and it will give the @ Now, these are very simple commands I've shown you how to produce. Obviously, you can fill in these to do way more advanced things, and I will teach you some more advanced commands later on in the series, but for now, this is how you make simple commands. In the next episode, I'll teach you how to make some slightly more advanced commands, such as banning and kicking users from the server. Alright. Okay guys, welcome back to the Discord bot tutorial series. In this episode I'm going to show you how to make a simple ban and kick command, which can only be run by people with the relevant permissions, which is ban and kick members. So to get started, what we need to do is we need to do bot.command, and we're going to create a command calling it ban. We're going to want to pass in context, member, which is a Discord dot member, asterisk, and reason equals none. So we're basically saying we want a member, so that'll be you have to @ someone to run the command. And we're also going to want a reason. If there isn't a reason specified though, we'll just not provide a reason. So to actually ban someone, the code we need to run is await member dot ban reason equals reason. And that's it really, but we're also going to want to give a message, so we're going to do await ctx.send, going to create an f string saying member was banned. Okay, and although this function makes perfect, there's one fatal problem with it at the moment, which is it can be run by anyone in the server, which we definitely do not want to happen. So to solve that, we're going to do @commands dot has permissions, and we're going to want to pass in the permission ban underscore members equals true. And what this will do is only allow people with the ban members permission to run this command. Okay, so that's a simple ban command. The kick command is just as simple, so we're not actually going to test the ban command yet because we can quickly write the kick command. All we need to do for the kick command is copy our ban command, paste it, change the permission here from ban members to kick members, and change member.ban to member.kick. And we're also going to change the message it outputs. And that's it. That's how you make those two permissions. Oh, we're also going to change the name of the function. Yeah, and that's it. That's how you make a simple ban and kick. And we're just going to run it and test them now. Show you them in action. Okay, so the bot is online. And we're just going to test it by banning one of the other bots in this test server. Okay, so we have an error showing up, which means something's obviously... Oh, okay. We simply forgot to capitalize this. To make sure we do it on both commands. Okay, so let's rerun it. Bot is running, head into Discord, and we're going to test them. So we're going to ban... I'm going to ban my test account, because the command won't work to ban anyone who has higher permissions than the bot, because that's just how Discord works. So we can't ban any of the other bots because they're the same level, and I can't ban myself, obviously. So let's ban my test account. Oh, my test account still has higher roles. Let's remove that and just give it the last role. Let's try that again. Okay, and as you can see, we get the message saying the account was banned. And if we go into the server settings, have a look at the ban list, we can see that it is banned. So we're actually going to revoke that ban. And I'm going to quickly add the Discord bot back to the channel. I'm going to quickly add the Discord account back to the channel because we're going to need it to kit. Okay, so the test account is back in the server, so we'll now try the kick command. And we can see he's kicked, he's no longer there. And again, if we go into the server settings and we have a look at the audit log, we can see that tutorial bot kicked the test account. Okay, so it's very simple tutorial. Because there are two very simple commands. In the next episode, I'll teach you how to make an unban command. Okay guys, welcome back to the Discord bot tutorial series. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to make an unban command. This is slightly more advanced than the ban and kick commands we made in the last episode. However, it's still fairly simple, and I'm going to guide you through it. So the first thing we want to do is obviously call our bot command, as we've been doing for every single command we've been creating. We're also going to want to make sure they have the relevant permissions. For this, I would use the ban_members permission. There are more permissions you can use, such as administrator and stuff. You can find a list of all the permissions on the official Discord Pi API website, which is in the description. Or you can just simply follow along and ban members, as I would say this is the most relevant permission to use in this case anyway. Okay, so once we've done that, we obviously want to then create our function, which I'm going to call Unban. We're going to need to pass in context, asterisk, and member. Now what we are going to need to do is we're going to need to get a list of everyone who's been banned from the server. So to do that, we are going to create a variable called banned users, and we're going to set it to await ctx.guild.bans. And essentially what that is going to do is it's going to run this method, which will get a list of any banned users in the server and store it in banned users. Next, we're going to want to separate the name and the discriminator of the member we are putting in. So to do that, what we're going to want to do is put both the variables there and do a member.split, and we're going to want to split a hashtag. What this will basically do is it will chop a string in half at a certain point. So what this is going to do, a Discord account is set up like this. So you first have the username, which is just the name set by the user, and then you have a unique string of numbers, which is either randomly set by Discord, or if the user owns Discord Nitro, they can choose it themselves. So this is the name, this is the discriminator. And what member.split is doing is it's essentially splitting it here like so, and then it'll store this in name and this in discriminator. So now we've got that, what we want to do is we want to loop through every single ban in our banned users list, and we want to get the user that has been banned. So ban.user. Then we want to check if that user is the same as the one we passed in. So to do that, we are going to do if user.name and user.discriminator is equal to name and discriminator, then we know we've got the right person to ban. So we do await ctx.guild.unban user. And that's essentially it. We're also going to send a message into the chat as well. So we'll just put an F string, user.mention was unbanned. And essentially what user.mention does is tags the user in the channel. And finally, we're going to want to return, because there's no point in us wasting processing power and carrying on looping through every other ban if we know we found the right one. And that's it. That's how you make the command. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run it. Bot is ready. It's online here. I'm going to get my test account back into the server. So okay, the test account's in the server. So we're going to first of all use the command we created last time to ban the test account. As you can see, it's gone. The account has been banned. Just double check in the server settings. You can see the ban. Okay, so now we'll try the unban command. And we're going to want to type it out as such. Make sure we include the discriminator. Okay, and now we've got the tag saying that user was unbanned. So let's now go and check our server settings again. Bans, no bans, and let's see if we can join back. And yes, we can join back on the test account. It's back in the server. Okay, so that was how you make a simple unban command. And in the next episode, I'll show you how to change the bot's activity. A Discrod activity is basically, as you see here, it says I'm playing Visual Studio Code. So yeah, I'll show you how to change that next in the next episode. Okay guys, welcome back to the Discord bot tutorial series. In this episode I'm going to show you guys how to change a bot's activity. A Discord activity is like this, where it says playing Visual Studio Code. I'm going to show you two ways of doing it. The first way is just going to be setting a default one, which will show the second the bot comes online. And the second way is going to allow an admin to change the activity via a command. Right, so to start off with, we're going to do the default setting. So quite simply, all we're going to want to do is add a line to our onReady, which is going to be await bot.change presence activity equals Discrod .game name equals. Okay, and now whatever you put in name here will be what the bot or what the bot says, what the activity it says. So for us, we're going to do prefix to show people what the bot's prefix is. And that's just going to be it for our default command. We're going to put that there as well, just to specify. For our default presence, that's what it's going to be. So if we now run the bot, bot is ready. We can see it's playing !prefix. Okay, so now say you wanted to change that via a command. Well, that is also very simple to do. We're just going to create our command. For this, I'm only going to allow administrators to do it. So command.has permissions. Administrator equals true. Async def activity. We're going to want to pass in context, asterisk in case it's a multi-word activity, and then activity. And again, we're simply going to want to grab that exact same line from the onReady event and just change where it says name here to activity. And that's basically it. We are also going to send a message to say it's been changed. We're going to say bots activity changed to, and then we're going to use the F string to specify what it's been changed to, which is activity. Okay, so now if we restart it, invalid permissions. Oh, it's because I spelled it wrong. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, I have also noticed I've got a spelling mistake there. Okay, so run again. Bot is ready. Currently it's just using the default prefix, but if we do !activity, and then we can specify whatever we want. So subscribe to hypes. If we got a spelling mistake or something, oh, it's because I forgot to include them. Okay, run this again. Subscribe to hypes. And as we can see, we've got the message saying it's been updated, and as we can see, it has changed. Okay, I know this was a short tutorial, but it's a very simple feature, but it's quite a nice one to know how to use. In the next episode, I will be teaching you about embeds and how to use them. Okay guys, welcome back to the Discrod bot tutorial series. In this episode of the series, we're going to be looking at embeds and I'm going to show you how to create and send them. Basically what an embed is like this really nice way of sending a message in a nice format. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to run one of my other bots and show you an example of an embed I'm using in there. Unfortunately, I am going to hide the code from you guys because this is my own custom bot and I don't particularly want it going out. If we run it, for some reason my console hasn't appeared, but that's fine. Let's open a new one. I don't know why it's not showing the console, but oh well. The bot is up, so let's do ! server info. And here's an example of an embed, although this message at the bottom isn't involved. But this here is an embed. And as you can see, we've got like some nice fields. We can have images on it. Yeah, I'm going to show you how to create a similar command to the server info command. So yeah, let's head back to our actual bot, and I'm actually going to quickly restart Visual Studio because we are having those issues with the console. Okay, so we are going to create a command. And we're going to do user info instead of server info. And to do this, we're going to do anyone will be allowed to call this. So we're not going to pass in any permissions, and we're just going to do user info. We could add a parameter to allow them to search for a specific member, but we're not actually going to do that for this command. We're just going to have it so the user can call it for themselves. So to start off with, we are going to want to actually get the user, so user equals ctx.author. And now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create our embed. So we do embed equals discord.embed, and we're going to give it a title, which is going to be equal to user info. We're going to give it a description, which is going to be equal to here is the info we retrieved about. We're going to make this an F string actually. User dot actually just user. Okay, and we're also going to pass in a color. You can use the English spelling or the American spelling for this, it doesn't matter. I'm English, so I'm going to use the English spelling, but it doesn't matter, they support both. And for this, we're actually going to do user.color. Okay, and we're also going to do add an image, so we're going to use the user's profile picture for this. So we do embed.set_thumbnail. URL equals user.avatar_URL, and this will get the URL of the user's profile picture. Next, we're going to add some fields. I'm not going to make this extremely detailed, but we will add a couple fields. A field, we're going to do a name field. So name equals name, and the value is going to equal user.name. And we are going to want this to be inline. Okay, and now we're going to copy that because we are going to create a similar thing. And instead of name, we're going to do nickname. And instead of user.name, user.nick. And inline still is true. This means that if the user has a nickname in the server, it will display that there. We're going to do the same again, just copy and paste it. And instead of name, we're going to do ID this time to get the user's ID. And you guessed it, value is just user.id. We're also going to get their status to tell if they're online, away, or on do not disturb or something else like that. So we're going to do name equals status, value equals user.status, again inline equals true. And finally, we're also going to do top role, which will get the highest rank role they've got in the server, which will be user.top_role_name. Oh no, top role dot name, sorry, not underscore. And again, inline is going to be true. Okay, so now we're going to do await ctx.send embed equals embed. And that will simply send our embed. Okay, so we are going to run the bot. Bot is ready. Bot is online, as we can see, and now if we do !user info, we get back this nice piece of information about me. For example, we don't have a nickname set right now, but if I were to give myself a nickname, choose my actual name, and we call it again. See, that field now is updated with the nickname. There is obviously a lot more you can include in something like this. This is just a very simple version of it. But if you want to look at other things the user object holds, you can go onto the Discrod API documentation and have a look. Okay, so that was it for this video. In the next video, I'm going to show you how we can make a nice custom help command. Discrod bots do automatically come with a help command, but it's very basic and looks quite ugly. We are going to set up a custom one that uses embeds like this to generate a nice looking help command. Okay guys, welcome back to the Discrod bot tutorial series. In this episode, I'm going to show you guys how to make a custom help command. Discrod bots do actually come with a built-in help command, and you can just use that if you'd like. I'll quickly show you what that looks like. Okay, so I'm going to run the bot. Bot is ready. Let's head into the test bots online, and now if we do !help, you'll get a list back of all the commands we've got. And if we do !help, let's say kick, it will tell us the parameters we need. Now, for you, this might be alright, but for my liking, I would prefer something more custom, which looks a bit better than this. So what we're going to actually do is create our own custom help command. Okay, so to do this, we are going to come up to the top, and where we have bot equals commands.bot, we just want to go underneath it and do bot dot remove command, help. And what this will do is remove the default help command so we can create our own one. So now we come down to wherever you want to put it and do bot.command. All the usual stuff, async, def, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it help. Okay, we want to pass in context. And now we're going to do an embed for our help command. So we're going to do embed equals discord.embed title equals help. And we'll just set the title for now. Embed, and we're going to create fields for each of our commands manually. You could potentially automate this. I have automated one for my server manager bot, but to make this more simple for the tutorial, we won't be automating it here. So we will just be making a field for each of our commands. So we're going to do it. Ping. Name is, and we'll give a description of the command. Value, and value will be our description. So we're going to say get the bot's latency. Okay, and we will want it to be inline. So inline is true. We're going to do hi, and this says hello to a specified user. And we're also going to mention that it takes in a member. So it's parameters member. Okay, and I'm not going to waste time and do this for every single field. I'm sure you get the idea, but we'll just finish off by adding one for the user info. Should probably not have them capitalized because the commands aren't capitalized. Retrieves info about a specified user. Actually, it doesn't get about a specified user, but in this case it just gets about. Okay, so that's our embed, and what we want to do is we could send it to the channel, but this will easily crash up the channel with lots of people asking for help. So what we're actually going to want to do is send it as a DM to the user. So to do that, we do context.author.send embed equals embed. Okay, and another thing we want to do is actually before we send it, we also don't want the original message, which was sent, the exclamation mark help, to stay, because that will also clash up the server. So if we just call ctx message.delete before we send the embed, that will do that. So this is the basic help command. So let's run it. Bot is ready. Let's do exclamation mark help. And as you can see, we received the DM, and If I open that up, we've got the basic thing here. Obviously, you can customize the embed more by adding color or images or whatever, as I showed you how to do in the last episode. Also, if we go back to the server, you notice there's no sign of that exclamation mark help message. It's been deleted. Okay, so one advantage the default help command had over our current help commands, though, is you could call a specific command. So we're going to recreate something similar. So if we come back here, stop it running. Instead of just passing in context, we're also going to want to pass in command. And now we're going to do command equals none. So defaultly, if they do just exclamation mark help, command will just equal none. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to do an if statement. If command not equal to none, we're going to want to do something there, but for now we're going to put the else, and we're actually going to indent this just by hitting tab, selecting it, hitting tab, and yeah, we'll run this. This is only coming up as an error because I haven't put anything in here yet. So if we have a command passed in, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to, again, we'll create an embed. I just really like Discrod embeds. You don't have to use an embed, but help, and we're actually going to make this an F string to specify that it's helping for that specific command. I haven't put in title. Title equals F string. There we go. Okay, so before we create the embed, what we're actually going to want to do is for command in dot commands, if, actually we're going to have to use a different name there because otherwise it will use that same variable. Let's just do command set here actually instead, so we'll have to change this up a bit. Command set. If command sent, and we're going to do dot to lower. Wait, not to lower, just lower. Equals what's no equals command dot name. And if that's the case, what we want, we need to do dot lower here as well. And if that is the case, and we find a command with a name, all we want to do is get the parameters. Okay, so to get the parameters, what we do is for param in command dot clean underscore params, and we're actually going to want to create a variable here called param string. Empty string, and we're going to want to do param string plus equals param. There we go. Essentially what that says is for every single parameter the command takes in, add it to a string. And we're actually going to move the param string variable. Don't really need it at the top of this function, we just need it here. Yep. Okay, so once we've got our param string, what we want to do is we actually want to move the embed here. Move the embed to here, And instead of command sign, actually what we'll do is command.name and embed.add field. Equals parameters value equals param string. Okay, and then what we're going to want to do is await ctx.auth.send embed equals embed. Oh, and we're also going to want to delete the message before we send it actually. So await ctx.message.delete. Okay, so now we should have a similar command to what the help command had, what the default help command had. So if we run this, bot is ready. If we do !help kick, oh, we spelled message wrong somewhere. Yeah, here. Okay, save that and rerun it. !help kick. Our message is deleted and we've been sent this. Although we can obviously see there's a problem and we haven't split up the param string at all. So to do that, what we're going to actually do is where we add onto the param string, we're also going to add on a comma and a space. Now, this will mostly work, but there will be one issue with it. So to fix that issue, what we are going to do is we're going to do param string -2. What this will do is basically param string equals like that actually. And what this will essentially do is it will remove the last 2 characters of the string, because if we, in fact I'll show you what it's like if we run it without it. So I'm just going to comment out that code, run it without. And let's do help kick again. Let's just delete if we got sent it. We can see we've got the commas, but we also have an extra comma in the end, which is not what we want. So what we're going to do is we are going to remove that using this. It will remove the last 2 characters. And we're removing 2 characters because there's also a space here which counts as a character. Okay, so now we've uncommented that, let's save and refresh. And do !help kick again. And as you can see, now we're getting back perfect message. There is something else we can do as well. We could get the description. So to get the description, what you want to do is we're actually going to set the description here as one of the arguments for the embed. Description equals, and we're going to do command dot description. Okay, right now that won't actually get anything for commands because we haven't actually set descriptions for commands. So in order to set a description for a command, what you need to do is you need to come to the command. We'll just use the ping as an example. And in the brackets where we call bot.command, we're going to say description equals, for the ping command, we it gets the bot's latency. Okay, so I'm not going to bother updating all the other commands right now. I will do that off camera. But if we restart, and now we call !help ping. Oh, okay. Yes, we are getting an error because I overlooked with the embed we've added a field, but because the ping command didn't have any parameters other than context, clean parameters just return nothing and param string remained empty, and you can't send an empty value into an embed. Okay, so to get around that problem, what we are going to want to do is, before we loop through our params, we're going to say if command dot clean params. Oh, and we're actually we're going to want to do len first. Is equal to 0, then param string is equal to none. Okay, so basically what this will do is it will check the length of the clean parameters array, so basically how many parameters there are excluding context, and if that's 0, it will set param string to be none. Okay, so now if we save and restart the bot, and wait till this is already, yep, help ping, we actually get a response back. This time the message was deleted, and as we can see, oh, okay, yes, that's another bug. For some commands like this, I don't test them before, I just develop them whilst doing it, and that's why issues like this sometimes happen. So, because we're removing the last two characters, it's removing the N and the E off none. So to solve that, actually what we want to do is we just want to get rid of that. Make sure you copy it though, and we want to just place that underneath that line, and now when we run again, help ping, get the message back, parameters equals none, and as you can see the description is there as well. Okay, so let me just show you what that's like with the command which does have parameters. So help kick parameters. We haven't set a description for kick, so that's why it's not showing up. As you see, all the parameters are there, everything's working fine. Okay, so that was it, guys. In the next episode of the series, I'm actually going to be doing a viewer requested command, which is a global text mute. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Discrod bot tutorial series. In this episode of the series, we are going to be creating a basic mute command, which will allow anyone with the manage messages permission to mute someone, and that will stop them from speaking in the channel, and also we're going to set it so it can stop people speaking in voice channels as well. Okay, so to start this off, we're going to create our bot.command, and seeing as we've got a custom help command now, which needs us to give a description, we're going to, well, it doesn't need us, but benefits from us giving it a description. We're going to give it a description, mutes the specified user. Okay, now we create our function async def mute, We're going to want to pass in context, member, which will be a Discord.member, star, because we're going to want to also pass in a reason, and reason can be multiple lines, and we'll set the reason defaultly equal to none. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is actually create a guild variable and set that equal to ctx.guild. This isn't really necessary, but we're going to create it because we're going to be calling guild quite a bit in this command. Okay, so then we're going to do muted role equals discord.utils.get guild.roles name equals muted. And essentially what this will do is it will search through all the roles we have in the Discord guild, and it will be searching for the muted role. If we don't have a muted role, what will happen is it will just return none. So we're going to actually handle the case of us not having a muted role now. So if not, muted role. So basically what will happen with this if statement is if there isn't a muted role, so if this returns none, it will run the code we put in here. So we're going to do muted role equals await guild.create underscore role, and we're going to give it the same name as we specified up there, which is muted. Okay, so that will create our role, but creating the role isn't good enough. What we're then going to want to do is loop through every channel in our server. So in guild.channels, and we're going to want to await channel .set underscore permission. And here we can set specific permissions for what we want to happen with the mute. So first thing we need to do is pass in the muted role. So this will say if the person has the muted role, set these permissions for this channel. So the first one we want to do is speak equals false, which will mean that if it's a voice channel, they won't be able to speak in that channel. We're also going to do send underscore messages equals false, which means if it's a text channel, capital F we need there, which basically means if it's a text channel, they won't be able to send any text messages into the channel. You could also do read underscore message underscore history equals false, and what that will do is it will make it so the user can't read any of the previous messages in the channel. Well, they just can't read messages in the channel. And also we're going to do read underscore messages equals false. However, for my case, I actually do want them to be able to read messages, so we'll set that to true. Or you could just remove that whole line, but I'm going to keep it there in case I want to change it in the future. Okay, so essentially what that's doing is actually muting the person. That's what that for loop is doing. So we can now come out of the for loop and also make sure we're outside of the if statement as well. And do await member.add underscore roles. And we're going to want to add the muted role. and we're going to specify the reason we added it. So reason equals reason, which would defaultly be none. Okay, so we're also going to want to send a message to the channel, ctx.send, make that an f string, and we're going to say muted not user, member dot mention for reason. And we're also going to specifically send a message to the member who was muted. So we'll do f string, you were muted in the server, guild name for reason. Okay, so now that is essentially it for the mute command. So we'll, actually, before we run it, we want to add the commands .has underscore permissions manage underscore messages equals true. Okay, so now we have our mute command. Let's run the bot. Bot is ready. I'm just going to quickly prove to you that there isn't a muted role already. As you can see, no muted role in that list. And if we go exclamation mark, not dollar even, exclamation mark, mute at, remember we have to use an at because we're using a Discord member object, and we give it the reason test mute. Okay, and as you can see, we got this message back saying the account has been muted. Let's see if the role has been created. As you can see, it has. And now let's go on to this account. And as you can see, we can't type in a channel. So yeah, we've also got the you are muted in Hopes test server for test mute message. These were just some other tests I did prior to recording. So yeah, the command works. And if we then go back to this, we have a problem because the only way to really unmute that person is to delete the role, which isn't ideal. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an unmute command, which is relatively simple to do. All we need to do is come down here, create another command, give it the description it needs. Unmute a specified user. We're also going to make sure they have the manage messages permission again. Start has permissions manage underscore messages equals true, and async def unmute present context and member discord dot member. Okay, that's all we need to pass in. So then we go. First thing we need to do is grab the muted role. So all we do is we copy this command up here. Then we need to remove the role. Actually, because we're only using it once here, we haven't created the guild variable, so we need to actually pass in context there. So then once we've done that, we want to await member dot remove roles and just pass in muted role. And then we'll say await ctx dot send unmuted member dot mention. And we'll also, again, send them a message. Oh, spelled member wrong there. We'll also send them a message. You were unmuted. It's a very good name. Okay, so that's our simple unmute command. So if we run the bot again, as you can see, he's still muted. Okay, so now the bots should be up. Let's do unmute. And actually, let me just quickly show you that he has the muted role currently. So let's unmute him. Remember, we have to tag him again. Okay, so now we can see that he's been unmuted. And if we come onto Edge, we can see we can now send messages again. Ooh, we didn't receive a message from the bot. Why is that then? Okay, so the reason we're getting that error is we need to change add CTX here because we haven't defined guild. So let's run again and exclamation mark mute Hype's test account. Oh, I just tried calling it. Of course that's not going to work, yeah. Because that account doesn't have the right permission. So if we mute him, you can see he's got muted here. And he did get the mute message. And okay, let's go back and unmute him now. Spelled it wrong there. Unmute Hypes. Sometimes it does. It's this error where I can't find it. There we go. Hypes test account. Okay, and we can see it's unmuted, and we did get the message this time. Okay, so that was how you make a simple mute and unmute command. We might revisit this sometime in a later episode, where we actually mute someone for a specified amount of time and then they get unmuted, but that'll be for a future episode if we do it. In the next episode, what we are going to look at is background tasks. So, for example, if you want to run something in the background, like changing the bot's presence every 10 minutes or something, and we'll have a look at how to do that. And obviously the background task can be used for a wide variety of things, such as getting YouTube videos from the YouTube API every so often and something like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Discrod bot tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to be looking at tasks and how to create basically something that runs in the background, which is what a task in Discrod Py is. So the first thing we want to do is we want to come up here to where we've got from discrod.ext import commands, and we simply want to add tasks to that. Okay, so now we've got tasks imported, it means we can create tasks. So what we're going to do is we're going to want to create a tasks.loop. At tasks.loop. And we're going to want to pass in the interval at which we want the bot to do something. So say we did seconds equals 10. Then it will do something every 10 seconds. It'll run the code every 10 seconds. You can also put hours and minutes in. I'm not sure about days. Let's quickly take a look. Right, so yes, you can do seconds, minutes, and hours, not days. You could also do count, which will mean the loop will only iterate that amount of times. So if you put 5, it would perform the code 5 times. Okay, so we are then going to want to do async def and whatever we want to call it. So I'll say message interval, as I am going to be making a command which sends a message every X amount of seconds. Okay, and for our message, we're going to want to pass in context, and we also want to pass in the message. And then simply all we need for this is await ctx.send. That should be send. Okay, now right now that won't do anything because we haven't run it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a command to run it. So we'll call the command repeat message. We're going to want context. We're going to want a enabled option, which will defaultly be start, and a interval for the amount of seconds we want to have between messages. Defaultly we'll put this in 10, and of course we want the actual message. Okay, so first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to check if enabled.lower equals stop. We're going to want to stop the loop rather than run it, so message interval dot stop, and calling dot stop on it essentially does what it says. It stops the command. Oh, that should be equals. Okay, and then we're going to want to do else if, oh no, elif even in Python, enabled dot lower is equal to start, which it is by default. We're going to want to do message interval dot change underscore interval seconds equals interval. Oh, actually we'll want to pass that to an int as well because it'll be a string by default. And then we're also going to want to message interval dot start and pass in context and message. For this, you pass the parameters into the start function of message interval rather than message interval itself, as you'll get an error if you pass them directly in. What is this? Undefined variable tasks. We did import tasks, didn't we? Oh no, we import task. It's meant to be tasks you import. Sorry, I got that messed up. Okay, that should be fixed, and that should be our bot. So if we run it, bot is ready. Into here, exclamation mark, repeat message, and we got to pass in start. Well, we actually shouldn't have to pass in start, but I'm going to pass it in anyway. Interval, which we'll say we don't want it every 10 seconds, we want it every 5 seconds. And our message is subscribe to Hypes. Okay, if you've got a multi-line message, you will have to put it in quotes like this. If it's just one word, then it's fine, you don't have to bother with the quotes. But let's run the command. Okay, so you got the first message, second message, third message, and this will carry on every 5 seconds until we stop it. So you can see more and more are just coming through every so often. Okay, so if we do exclamation mark repeat message stop, it should stop it. That other one came through because the stop method actually allows the currently running one to come through, but as you can see, no more have come through. If you don't want the currently running one to finish, you can actually use, instead of stop, here you would use .cancel. So I'll just quickly show you that if I run it again. Okay, bottom line, and let's copy our initial command. Okay, now repeat message stop. It won't send another one. See, as you can see, it's been more than 5 seconds and no other messages come through. So it depends on your use case, which one you would prefer to use, cancel or stop. It doesn't really matter. In this case, I'm going to leave it on cancel because we just want to stop the messages being sent immediately. Okay, that was how you set up a basic task for the bot. Obviously, this can be changed to do something far more complicated. Sending a message was just our simple example. In the next episode, I'm going to show you guys how to get free hosting for your bots using Heroku. Okay guys, welcome back to the Discrod bot tutorial series. In this episode I'm going to show you guys how you can use Heroku, which is a cloud service, to host your bot for free. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're actually going to want to come to Heroku's website, which is just heroku.com. The link will be in the description, and we're going to want to create an account. I'm going to create a whole fresh account on the site just to show you guys from the beginning. For primary development, we're going to say Python. Okay, so once you've signed up, just come and log in if you haven't been logged in already. It might take you a little bit to get the confirmation email. It took a little bit for mine to show up. Oh, I got the password wrong. Okay, just agree to that. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create an app. Once we create the app, we will want to name it something we can remember, so I'll just do tutorial -bot, and I'm going to use it needs to be lowercase. That's not available, so what about that? No. Okay, I'm going to call it YouTube tutorial bot with dashes in between, and I've selected Europe. Do not add a pipeline, just hit create app. Okay, and once you've created the app, we want to go to settings. And we're going to want to add a build pack, and we're going to want it to be Python. Save changes. Okay, so let's go back to overview, and we're actually going to want to download the Heroku command line, so I'll navigate to that. There'll be a link to this download in the description. So you're going to want to install it. Make sure you have the set path enabled. Okay, once that's completed, we can close that. And we're going to want to open command prompt. Just going to zoom this in so it's easier for you guys to see. And we're going to want to find our folder for the Discord bot. So mine's saved here. We'll just use episode 10's code because there's no new code for this episode. And you're going to want to copy the path, and you're going to want to come here and type cd. You don't need the thing actually, and paste that in. Now for you, it might automatically change, but for me, because it's stored on a different drive, I have to do that first. Another thing you can do is you can come into this directory and just type cmd at the top there, and it will automatically open a command prompt in the right directory, which is probably an easier way of doing it, to be honest. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create what's called a proc file. So to do that, you do echo, and then this arrow, and proc file. Okay, and now if we now go to the thing, we can see the file with no file extension has been created called proc file. Do you want to open it with a text editor of your choice? I'll just use Visual Studio Code, and you'll have this line, echo is on. You don't need this, you want to get rid of it, and just replace that with worker Python, and then the name of your file. So in this case, mine is tutorial.py. Make sure this is your main file. If you had multiple Python files, make sure it's the main folder which contains the bot.run. Okay, that's all we need to do for that proc file, so we can close that. And we are going to want to create a new text document and call it requirements. Just make sure you spell requirements correctly, because you will get some errors. If it's not, then you're going to want to, and in the text file, you put in whatever modules you're using. So whatever imports you're using which aren't part of the default Discord thing. So if you had to install something, for example, with pip. So I'm just going to check exactly what I need to type using pip freeze. I spelled freeze wrong. Pip freeze. And all we've used in the tutorial bot so far is Discord rewrite. We haven't actually imported anything else. So we can see that Discord rewrite is discord.py equals 1.1. So we're going to copy that exact line out. And basically what that'll do is it will tell the server that discord.py version 1.4.1 is required. Okay, so once you've got your requirements folder, what you want to do is cmd. And make sure you're in the correct directory again, and do Heroku login. Hit any key once this message comes up. It'll take you to your browser, you just want to log in. Come back to CMD and you should be signed into the right email. And then what you're going to want to do is git init. And then Heroku git remote -a, and then the name of your app on Heroku. So I'm just going to copy this exactly. Okay, you should then see that. And then you want to do git add and git commit -am adding bot, or whatever you want there. You should see all of this. And then git push Heroku master. And just leave this to complete. Basically what this is doing is it is uploading the app to Heroku. It might take a little bit of time, but it should eventually work. See here, it downloaded all our requirements. Okay, success, deployed to Heroku. So if we now come back to here and go back to the overview, refresh, come resources, and we just want to hit edit there, and we just want to flick that, confirm, and now we should wait a few minutes and we should see our bot is online, even though we are not running it in any other way. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video. Just be careful with using Heroku, because although it is free, there are limits. You don't want to be deploying your bot in a huge capacity across many servers, otherwise Heroku may start charging you. But if it's just for your small server, it should be perfectly fine. And just make sure you're using a free dyno. If you are a student, you can use the GitHub student pack, and you can get a upgraded dyno, which will allow your bot to run better. I'll also leave a link to the GitHub student pack below. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I don't actually know what I'm going to do for the next video yet, but it should be out within a couple of days. Okay guys, welcome back to the Discrod bot tutorial series. In this episode I'm going to teach you guys about Cogs. Cogs are essentially a really nice way to organize your bots, commands and events into nice groups, like a category. And that way you don't have to have a massive just main file. So to get started, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create a new folder and call it Cogs. Now we'll just leave that folder empty for now. By the way, I cleaned up the bot and removed some of the commands we're not going to need anymore, that were just for previous episodes. So we're only going to be using these commands this episode. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create a separate command called load cog, and this will essentially load a cog. What we're going to want to pass in is ctx and then cog, and we're simply going to want to do bot.load underscore extension, and we're going to do an f string cogs dot cog. Okay, and we're going to simply copy that, paste it, and change it to unload cog and bot.unload extension. Okay, what these commands will simply do is this one will load a cog into the server and this one will unload it. This means you can basically have different modules of the bot enabled or disabled if you want. Right, so then what we're going to want to do is defaultly we're going to want every single cog to be enabled. So what we're going to want to do is loop through every file in our cogs file So for this we will need the OS, so if you haven't already got it from a previous use, import OS up at the top here, and then for file name in os.listdir, which will search through a directory, and we're going to say /cogs. Okay, and this will essentially loop through any file we have in this directory. Okay, so what we're going to want to first do is check if the file is a Python file. So if we do file name dot ends with .py, all Python files end with .py. If it meets that condition, we'll know it's a Python file. And what we can do then is we can load the extension. So bot_load extension again, another f string, cogs dot file name, and what we actually want to do is we want to remove the last 3 characters. So if we pass in these square brackets here, that will remove the last 3 characters, which is the .py extension. Okay, so now we've got that basic code set up in our main bot area. We can actually go and create a cog. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new file. The cog we're going to be creating is an info cog. So we'll just do info.py. And the first thing we want to do is import Discrod. And from Discrod, that needs to be on a new line. From Discrod, import, from discrod.ext, sorry. Import commands. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to say class, and we'll call it info. Make sure to pass in commands.cog. We're going to want to also create a init method, so def __init __. And for the init, we want to pass in self and bot. Okay, so self.bot equals bot. That's all we need in there. Now we're going to want to come out of the class and create a setup method. Setup. Okay, and in our setup command we want to pass in bot. And we're going to want to do bot.add _cog info bot. Okay, so now this is the basic structure for a cog, and anything we want the cog to do, we place here inside the class. So what we're first going to want to do is create a command. So we're going to actually move our current command instead of writing a whole new one. We're going to move both of these commands, the ping and user info. We're just going to cut them out of there and paste them in here. Make sure they line up correctly. And there are a few changes we're going to have to make. First of all, we're going to have to change bot to commands.command on both of these. And we're going to want to pass in self to both of these. You have to pass in a self on any new command if it's inside a cog. And if you're referencing the bot, what you're going to want to do is actually self.bot instead. Okay, so those 2 commands should now be added. And if we now run the main file, hopefully we don't get any errors. No, bot is ready. Okay, and bot is online. And if we try running, it was the ping command we added, we can see we still get a response. And let's also try the user info. Yes, we also get a response, even though they're not in the main file anymore. So now let's try something else. Let's see what happens if we do unload cog info. Okay, we didn't set it up to provide any response, so that's fine. But let's now try and do the ping command again. As we can see, the ping command is no longer found. Let's do the same for user info. User info is not found. Okay, let's load back the info cog. Oh, not exclamation mark load, exclamation mark load cog info. And now let's try those commands again. Exclamation mark ping. We get a response. Exclamation mark user info. We get a response. So yes, this is like a really nice way of enabling / disabling certain, let's call them modules in your bot. If you don't want to use a certain category of commands, you don't have to. Okay, and we're also going to create a second cog to handle events. So we'll do events.py. And again, we can copy all of the previous cogs and just remove the commands we added and change the name to events. Events here as well. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is now we're going to remove our onReady event. And we're going to place it inside the events cog. Make sure the indentation is proper. And again, we have to make some changes. So what we do instead of bot.event, we do commands.cog.listener. That should be lowercase actually. Okay. Now obviously we're still getting the errors because we again have to pass in self to onReady, even though previously it didn't take in any arguments. It needs to take in self now. And we also need to call self.bot to change the presence here. Okay, we're still going to get an error because prefix is undefined. So we need to give that a definition here. So what we can actually do is copy that. Well, actually we can remove it because we won't need prefix from here anymore. And we're going to want to go back to our events, and outside of the class we're going to set that as a global variable. Now that's not going to work as it is because we haven't got the data from the config file, so we're going to copy that and paste that just above it. Okay, and one final thing, we're going to want to import JSON. Okay, so now if we come back to the main file, we did actually need the prefix still here, I forgot about that, so let's quickly copy that back over. Okay, so if we scroll down here, we can see there is no longer an onReady event here because we removed it. And if we now try to run this, we'll still see we get the bot is ready. If we head back into Discord, we can still see the presence. So yeah, that is how you use Cogs in Discord. I would honestly recommend using them because they make your main file so much tidier, and you can easily load and unload a specific module, which makes your bot more versatile. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed. The next video will probably be about how to block a mention from being sent. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Discrod bot tutorial series. In this episode we are going to do a suggested video where we make a command that triggers an event which blocks any pings to a specific user. Right, so to get started, what we're going to first do is create a new cog. We're going to call it management.py. If you missed the video about cogs, go back to the last episode and you can learn about what cogs are and how they work in that. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is, actually we'll just come over to our info cog and copy the boilerplate code and just delete the commands. And we'll change this to management. Okay. Now, what we're first going to want to do is we're going to want to open up our config file. We'll do this outside of the class. And we'll open it as F. Then we'll get our config data. JSON.load. Oh, we also need to import JSON actually. Okay, now we're going to create a variable called noPing, and that will equal config data will equal noPing. So right now our config data doesn't have this attribute noPing. Why are we getting? Oh, we haven't passed in file there. Okay, so right now config data doesn't have the attribute noPing. So what we're going to want to do is we're quickly going to go back to the main file, and we're going to come to our config template here. We're going to add noPing exactly as you spelled it previously, and it'll equal an empty list. Right, and if you already have a config JSON, which you probably should, you're also going to want to add that onto the end of it, just so no errors will be caused. So like so. Now, we are just going to be storing this data inside our JSON file, which, although it works, wouldn't be ideal if the server was large or the bot was spread across multiple servers. In that case, you would want to use a database, but that's a bit too advanced for this series at the moment. So I'm going to just use the config file for now. Okay, so we're going to come back to our management script and create our command first. So at commands.command we'll call it noPing, and we're going to want to pass in self because it's in a cog context, and member, which will be a Discrod member. Okay, so then what we're going to want to do is say, first of all, append the member onto the no ping list. Actually, we'll append the member.mention because that's what we're going to be looking for. Then we're going to open the config file again. This time we're going to want to open it with read and write permissions. So we're going to open it as R+. We'll open it as F again. So data equals JSON.load F data no ping equals no ping. So update the JSON file, but it won't save anything just yet. So to save it, we're going to do f.seek 0 to return to the start of the file, f.write json.dumps data, and f.truncate. Okay, and that's it. Now we're just going to output a message, so ctx.send. We'll make an f string. Member.name, because we don't actually want to tag them for this, was added to the no ping list. Okay, so that's the command done. This won't actually do anything. All this is doing is adding a member to the file. So to handle it, what we are also going to want to do is a commands.cog.listener, and we're going to want to call the onMessage event. Which is just on_message. We'll pass in message. And the first thing we want to do is we want to check if the message contains any mention of a user in the no ping list. So we say if any word in message.content for word in no ping. This will essentially return true if they find a word in the message which is a mention which is in no ping. Okay, so then if we do that, we want to delete the message. So await message delete, and we're also going to send a message to the author. Await message.author.send. You cannot tag that user. Okay. Where are we getting this management? Oh, we haven't passed in self here. We need to pass in self. we go. Now, normally with an on-message event, you would have this this command at the bottom to essentially allow any of the next commands to be processed. But because we're doing this in a cog, we don't actually need that, because the default on message event is already called and it already has the process commands. So we can just leave this like this. If we did add it, what it would actually do is it would process the command twice, which we wouldn't want happening. Okay, so I think that's about it. As we can see, our JSON file is empty, so let's boot up the bot. Okay, I think I figured out where we possibly may be getting this error, so let me see. I think this should be a lowercase c. Let's rerun. Yes, okay, that was it. Bot is now ready. Alright, so let's head back into test server and we'll say, oh, before we do it, I'll just quickly show you again. No ping is empty. Now let's say exclamation mark no ping, and we'll just say myself. Remember, we have to actually tie it. And as we can see, my mention ID thing has been added into the no ping list. So now let's boot up Edge so I can use my separate Discord account for testing. And so that's just when I was testing this yesterday. Okay, so now if we try and ping, we can see we get a message back saying you cannot tag that user, and the ping was deleted. There are a few issues with this. Well, I won't call them issues, but for example, when I did the no ping command, it sent me the message saying you cannot tag this user. Now, that's something you could easily handle, but we're not going to bother doing it in this video. Also, something you might want to consider is adding some validation in here to make sure it is a valid member and everything. But other than that, there's not much more to explain about this. You may also want to add a command yourself to allow pinging again, so to remove the person from the no ping list. Again, that should be pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go into doing so in the video. And of course, you don't actually need that. You can just come here and remove them manually from the no ping list. Where are we getting that? Oh, okay. I just noticed something. We never actually said await ctx.send here, so that would explain why we didn't get the message. Yeah. Okay. So make sure you add that await there, but the thing will still work 100%. Okay, so that's it, guys. I am starting to run out of ideas for this series, to be honest. So I could really do with some more suggestions in the comments. I do have a few more ideas left myself, but it's interesting. So that's why I've been kind of stretching out the time in between episodes recently. In the next episode, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a profanity filter. Okay guys, welcome back to the Discrod bot tutorial series. In this episode we're going to be covering how to make a profanity filter, or blocked words list you could call it. I'm sorry that I haven't been uploading very much recently, anywhere near as much as I was previously. There are two main reasons for that. It's mainly because I've started back at university now, so I'm having to juggle recording videos and work and lectures and everything. The second reason is also I am starting to run out of ideas for the series. Okay, so we're going to start off by creating a banned words. We are just going to do this on our main file. You could put this into a cog if you wanted, but we're just going to do it on the main file for this. And we'll say banned words. Again, we're going to be storing these in the config file. So once we've done that, we'll go to our config file and add a field for banned words. And we want the field to be an array. Okay, so come back to here. We've got that all set up. We're also going to want that to add that to the template. That should be a common, not a first topic. Okay. So then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to be able to add and remove a banned word from this. So we'll create a command to do that. Again, you could place this in a cog. I'm just going to do it outside of a cog for this video though. We'll add banned word. And we pass in context and the word. We're also going to want to make sure this is only being able to run by admins or whatever permission you want for your channel, but we're going to use administrator for this. Okay, so the first thing we want to do in the function is check if the word is already in the banned words, right? Because we don't want to add multiple instances of the word. So if word, we'll lower it in banned words. And if it is, we'll just send a message already banned. Defined variable. What do we have? Oh, we just called it banned here. We need to do banned words. Okay, so once we've done that if statement, we want an else block, and this will say if the word isn't in the banned words, we're going to obviously want to add it. So banned words dot append word, and we're going to lower it because that way we can easily check if they've capitalized it in any weird way. Okay, so then we're going to want to open the config file. There's R+. Equals JSON.load F. data band words equals band words. f.seek 0 f.write json.dumps data f.truncate. Okay, and that's pretty much how we add a band word, but we'll also send a message. Well, actually, before we send a message, what we want to do is we want to delete the message to hide the band word. So if we just call ctx.message.delete, then we want to send a message. So ctx.send word added to band words. Okay, so that's our add a band word message. We also are going to want a command to remove band word. It's going to be very similar, so we're just going to copy and paste it, change a few things. So that becomes remove band word. And yes, that stays the same. Oh wait, no. Now we want to actually get rid of the else and the already banned part. And just leave this like this. And change this to remove. Let's keep all this the same. Change this word removed from and words. And now what we're going to want to do is we're going to add an else and just say await ctx.send word isn't banned. Okay, so those are our commands to add and remove banned words. Now what we're actually going to want to do is we're going to want to handle the case when someone types a message that is banned. Well, that contains a banned word. So the first thing we're going to want to do to handle this is we're going to want to import regular expressions, which is RE. Okay, and then we're going to want to come down and we're going to want to add an event. So appbot.event. And we'll do async def on message because we want to do something on a message. This just takes in message. We'll say message author equals ctx. Oh wait, no, not ctx. Message dot author. And then we want to check if there are any banned words. So if not equal, if banned words not equal to none. Also going to want to check we're not in a DM channel rather than a server channel. So if we say is instance message.channel Discrod channel dot DM channel, and say equals. Okay. So if both of those conditions are met, then we know we're going to have to check the message. So we'll do for band word in band words. If message underscore contain underscore word. Now this is going to be a function we create in a minute after we've done the event, so you might get given an error from it now, but just ignore it until we create it. So we want to pass in message.content.lower. And we want to pass in band word. And then if the message does contain a band word, we're going to want to delete the message. Message.delete. And we're also going to want to send a message. Message.channel.send. We'll send an F string. Let's see. Message author dot mention the message was removed as it contained a band word. Oh, that's about it though. Okay, so that's almost it. What we are going to want to do before we create the message contains word function is just come out of the if statement and do await dot process commands message. If we didn't include this line, we wouldn't be able to run any commands because it would just be checking it and not processing it. Okay, so now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create our message contains word function. So def message underscore contains word. We want to pass in the message and word. And here we're going to use the regular expressions we imported. So we're going to want to return re.search fr single quotes /b /b brackets word message is not none. Oh, and actually I didn't add it, but we need another /b there. And what this will do is it will basically remove any band word in the message. Well, it will return true if there is a banned word in the message, but if there is a word, say we banned the word Tom, it would remove Tom, but it wouldn't remove Thomas. Okay, so that should be everything. So if we run our bot, no errors, that's a good sign. Okay, bring Discrod into here. Okay, and let's just quickly show you there's no banned words in the array. Let's add a banned word. Let's just ban the word turnip. I have no idea why, it's the first thing that came to mind. Okay, we'll add it to banned words. And now let's try and... Well, actually, let's quickly show you that it is in here. See, turnip is now in the banned words. And let's quickly try and say turnip. Oh, okay, we actually do have an error, although it did remove the word. We still have an error. What's this? Okay, the error wasn't actually related to the banned words. It was conflicting with another one of our cogs. It was conflicting with this. And so we're not actually going to bother fixing that for this, because this video is not about the no-pain command. We're just going to unload, not no-pain, it's unload cog actually, isn't it, as well? Yeah. Unload cog manage. Here we didn't get an error, so I presume it worked. And let's try saying turnip again. Yeah, as you can see, message was removed as it contained a banned word.